What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. We are here in the Radioactive RC Garage, and I thought we would talk a little bit of shop about this really cool build that I'm sure you guys are all wondering about. We've got a really windy day, so that's no fun for playing. We've got a nice cozy fire in here. So let's talk a little bit about this build. First of all, what do you guys think? Should we get it? I'm not really sure. I'm kind of on the fence about it. I'm waiting for a little bit of opinions out there, but we'll see. All right, so let's talk about this Shredcat here. So before we get into it, can we just appreciate these honeycomb or snowflake wheels and tires? They are extraordinary. Little bit thinner ones up front, just like a buggy should be. This is a two-wheel drive buggy build, so this worked out just perfect. These actually remind me of the Trans Am wheels back in the 90s, the GTAs. I happen to own one. I love that car. This just made me feel so nostalgic. So, all right. So we had a couple things that we needed to go over here. Just in case you guys wanted to do your own build like this in your garage, I assure you everything that I did, you guys can do in your own garage. I have the motor out. I have the same transmission that is in this this Shredcat. This one is the non-modified transmission. So, all right, guys, we got three major things to go over that are new, not to mention this really cool next generation bash bar. Really cool. And it actually kind of completes the original shredder top brace bar, minus that piece of plastic that covered the center diff right there. This makes it a more complete build. I wish you guys could feel how solid this is from front to back. It's even more solid than the original. It's incredible. Okay, so we've got a couple things here. We've got a mechanical line lock to go over. We've got a 2-speed shift on the fly transmission, and we have got an aero package we need to go over. So where do we start? Which one was the coolest thing for you guys? Comment down below. All right, so I think we're going to start with, let's start with the 2-speed transmission. I think that this was the most important part of the build. People would own this car and complain about the wobbliness of the center diff. It was uneven. Sometimes it just stripped out. It was just, the diffs really are the weak point of this car, which is why I've worked so hard to try to find solutions to them and build them up in a way that they can run reliably for you guys. So hopefully the combination of what I've been showing you guys is working for you, because it's certainly working for us on the ranch and everybody associated with it. We have some other RC channels that we work on their cars, and those are actually still out there running, and we have not had one diff problem in over a year come back with several shredders out there. So, all right, that being said, let's talk about getting rid of this center diff. We have, let's see if we can get the camera down in here. All right, as you can see right there, we have got a mounting plate. On the original chassis, let's see. All right, guys, this is the shredder chassis, and I wanted to point out this stamped area in here. We were trying to mount our transmission right up to these pre-drilled holes, because I was trying to do everything to where we utilized all these holes that are already pre-drilled. That way you guys don't have to have the stress and the headache of trying to pre-drill your own holes in your chassis. I understand what kind of a stress that is, so I try to make these builds easy. So we could not bolt this to this uneven surface right here. So that's where our transmission plate came in. And let's take a quick look. Down here, we've got a plate that runs, it's about 2 inches by about 3 inches. And you can see that I've used all steel mounting points. There's 3 mounting points on the bottom here. And then this upper chassis brace here actually holds the top of the transmission, so it's actually fastened on the top, it's fastened on the bottom down here, and it's really worked out well. Now this transmission right here, let's see if we can get the camera in here. Oh, that fan is just... these fans are great. If you ever have a chance to use one, these rocket fans are great. Unfortunately, most of them you have to order from overseas. They take about 3 weeks to get here, but well worth it. All right, so what we have here is we have our steel spur gear right here. This has an optional, I believe it is a 46 tooth. This is the speed one. It is a 39 tooth spur. It is made by Hot Racing, and as you can see there, we're turning the back wheels right there. This actually worked out really, really well. We had to go into the transfer case. I don't know if you can see the cup drive right there. We had to go into the transfer case and change some things up so it would accept these steel outdrives right here. But it actually worked out really, really well. You can kind of see the mounting points there, really utilizing every inch of space that we have on this car. Okay, so the transmission, I know, I'm getting to it. You guys have some questions. Okay, this is an Axe Speed transmission. Really, really cool setup. You can find them on eBay. This is an all aluminum, actually a serious chunk of metal right here. I don't recommend using the plastic ones that you might find in some of the Traxxas machines. This is the way to go. They're completely built with different gears inside. They are not the same ones that come in the TRX4, so I really strongly recommend using this type of a transmission if you guys are going this route. This is a 2-speed transmission, and this is the stock one. I modify my transmissions, or at least I do now, because we are now using them. You have to not only modify the transfer case to accept that outdrive cup, but right here in this area, there is a dog that slides back and forth that travels between the first and the second gear that we have modified in order to create a safe stall converter. Now, I didn't do this in the first video because I was a little bit scared. I was a little bit scared after what happened in the first part of the video that you guys saw at the first part of this video. This pinion, that is no joke, guys. That's not a matter of setting your mesh. It gnawed those teeth off right to the bone. Look at that. I've never seen that before, but I wasn't about to try to do a stall convert right there on the concrete after that just happened. So we're going to be doing a little bit more research and development to try to figure out a safe way to do that. In case you're wondering, if you're not familiar with the drag racing world, let me kind of share with you guys what I mean by stall converter. Okay, so what a stall converter is going to allow you to do is you're going to, let's see here, where's the shifter? Here we are. There we are. All right. Okay. So what it allows your car to do is to build up the momentum and power within the drivetrain so it's ready to let loose, and you slam that in gear and all the clutches hit together, and it provides a lot of power right off the line. I'm sure a lot of other racers can probably explain it more eloquently than that, but that's pretty much what happens. If you've ever watched some of the Street Outlaws and stuff like that, I'm sure that you understand. Okay, so what we have here is this is a 2-gear process, but it also has an intermediate place inside this transmission, and that's what we've modified in order to take that pressure immediately and get it to another into gear without damaging the internal structures of the gears here. Okay, so we're in first gear. Now, mind you, this is stock, so this has not been modified yet. So here we are. This is the end, the rear shaft. This is also the front shaft, so this can be used four-wheel drive. So I'm going to turn this upside down so you guys can kind of see that turning. Now we're in first gear right there. Okay, so here we are in second gear. You can see it's spinning quite a bit faster, but there's a magical spot right there in between. And you see we're spinning, and this is the drive line, okay? So you can spin the motor up, but there's nothing happening at the rear shaft. So what you're doing is you lock it in place, and there we go. Granted, this is just the stock version, but you get the idea. I wasn't going to try it on that video, but I think we're going to do it in future videos, and I think that's going to be something really cool. This is actually the larger spur gear. This is just the factory one that comes with the transmission. You can get the hot racing one if you like. This one is going to provide you a little bit more low-end torque, where the one that we have installed is going to be more high-end speed, which is, I kind of wanted the best of both worlds, so that's what we're kind of trying to achieve. We're going to have to mess around with the pinions. Hopefully not like that. In case you guys are wondering what pinion we finished off on, it was the 19 tooth pinion. Now, if you've noticed, these are smaller teeth. This is a point mod or 32 pitch pinion. We had to change this out to accept this transmission spur gear. If you guys know of any other spur gears that'll work on this transmission, comment down below. But I have done my research. I have tried the infraction pinions. Nothing will work on this except for the 0.8. So what you need to do is just get a really, really hard metaled pinion in order to go with this. So that's pretty much the transmission in a nutshell. It is really pretty cool in action. It is just outstanding. Now, you can see right here, we have the drive shaft, and it goes down at just a slight slope to the rear differential right there. And it functions just as it would from the factory from Redcat. We have modified both of the upper braces right here. I actually had to shorten them because it was interfering with the cup rotation right there. So we actually changed the length of that. Also, why in the world did I have to use such a big receiver box? Well, we're using the TRX 4 or the TRX 6 controller, and that thing is a monster, guys. I tried several different toolboxes. They just didn't work. I needed the height of this, so this is actually a cooler box from RC 4-wheel drive. Worked out perfect. As you can see, had just a razor's edge margin, but it works out really great. I can pop this lid off on the fly, get to anything that I need to inside there. Okay, so yeah, if you guys are wondering why this is slightly sloped, it is pulling this transmission down. So both the slightly bowed shape and this upper brace, I am still testing it. I'm not telling you that this is as for sure as this brace, but I am willing to bet that this brace is going to turn out twice as good as the first one with this combination. So I'm just trying to give you guys ideas of what to do and what you might like to change your shredder out in the future. These fans are absolutely ridiculous. They are incredible. I love the looks of them. They're durable. I believe they run at 10,000 RPM for a fan this size. That's quite a bit. And they don't take another battery. That's important too. So, all right. So the transmission, brace bar covered. Let's talk about this line lock, because a lot of you guys that are into drag racing, this is probably something that you would have expected to come with the drag slash or something similar to that. This basically is a configuration of a whole bunch of small aluminum jigs that I used all of the existing holes for in the chassis. I didn't do anything. Like I said, these are the only two drilled holes right up here, and that is actually for the brace bar up here. So there are no other holes, and really I didn't even need to do that. It was just something that I elected to do to make it just a little bit stronger. We all know how weak this front end, this plastic made it up with aluminum is. So all right, so we've got a servo right here that basically extends an aluminum blade, if you will, into the front diff cup that we've modified. Now, if you see what a diff cup looks like, you see it kind of right there. We actually had to take some diff cups from a cadaver differential, and that way we could make this and modify the front. But we actually modified and kind of spiraled this to where the aluminum can engage that cup without getting jammed up. So it can go completely engaged into that slot without getting jammed up on the outer ring of it. So what we have, this is actually engaged at the moment, so you guys can see it allows for just a little bit of rotation, and then that is it. So basically you push yourself up to the line, you lock your front tires in place, put a little bit of pressure on them, and what this will allow you to do is, not only is it super cool and super fun to be able to sit and do a line lock with when all the other guys are grabbing their wheelie bars and sitting and heating up their tires that way, and all you have to do is simply hit a switch, but it'll allow you to spool up the power. Even without the stall converter, you can spool up that power to the rear wheels and in any speed or any amount of power that you want, and then you just flip that switch and you are off. So I think that is super, super cool. I've never seen that done on an RC, let alone something this size. So really, as you can see, the upper chassis plate right there is just slightly modified. We cut a little strip in there for the servo to rotate back and forth through. It's got a nice smooth ramp that it slides and engages it right into place so it doesn't allow any play. This piece right here actually has a piece cut out of it that allows that blade to, you can even hear it rattle. There's plenty of room in there. It's free. I've got, I actually have this apart. As you can see, some of the wires are loose like that. We actually had kind of a catastrophe on the first video. Not only did we strip out this pinion here, but I actually burnt out this servo, and I'll tell you why. This motor mount, we can only accept a pinion in the size of about 23 to 22 up to about a 30 tooth pinion on this motor mount. Otherwise, it starts to interfere with this servo horn, and you all know what happens when you jam up a servo horn. It burns out. So that's exactly what happened during that video. It actually happened right after the video, so it didn't interfere, which was great, but wow, what a frustrating moment, as you guys could see, to be working all day on it and have something like that happen. So this is really cool. I'm gonna fire this up here. That way we can show you a couple things about this. But before we do, I want to go into this wing right here. So this wing, guys, operates with a servo, as you can see, that is mounted right there. I've got 2 screws on the bottom, and I've got it zip tied right there, and it keeps that sturdy. I don't normally use zip ties, but to put a whole bunch of aluminum back here just didn't feel right to me, and it's actually screwed underneath, so it is solid in there. Let's rotate it around here. I thought that was cool, right? I love these things, right? Okay, so we have a linkage, as you can see right there, and this linkage is just attached to the front part of the wing. All you have to do is just remove 2 screws right there, and this linkage will allow the wing to pivot. And so if you mount your servo in such a fashion, it will just allow it to do that. Now, the tricky part, how is it that we get this wing to move with our motor and our ESC. Okay, so that requires a Y connector, and it's really simple. You just plug a Y connector into the channel 2 or whatever it is on your receiver to your ESC, and have the one Y go to your ESC and one of the Ys goes to a servo. And so every single time you hit the accelerator, no matter how hard or easy, that servo will react the same way your motor will in ESC. So I'm about to demonstrate that for you guys so you guys can see. All right, so let's see here. Let's situate you guys right there. Okay. We got our remote. Let's get this on here. Got our nice pedestal. I thought that was kind of nice and professional, making a nice little switch there. Okay, so here we go. Let's take a look at this wing now. I want you guys to watch with this remote. So as I'm pulling the trigger, now again, we don't have the motor hooked up. I removed it so we could kind of see inside here. So this is just the wing operating. So as I'm going forward, it applies more and more pressure. Now for those of you guys who are not into racing and don't understand what principles are applying here, this is just basically physics. If you've ever stuck your hand out the window of a car and had it be like this, you can glide through the air very nicely. The minute you put your wing up like this, or you start to twist your hand, you start to feel pressure, and it's downforce. It's the same thing when you have a wing operating like this, just like the Bugatti wing. The more pressure you put, the more downforce. So as we accelerate, this wing gets more and more and more and more downforce until it gets completely forced down. And what that's going to do is it's going to create a lot of pressure on the rear wheels, which is going to keep you on the ground, which is where you need to be if you guys are going to be going 100 miles an hour or anywhere in that neighborhood. So the main problem with trying to get a car with these kind of wheels and tires to go that fast is you got to be able to keep it on the ground. So that's why I have kept a lot of this gear below this bash bar for the center of gravity to be very low. And what we're going to have to do is we're going to be weighting this up here. That's going to be one of the next steps, is we're going to weight this so that the front end can stay down and you can do those burnouts with a little less weight on the rear wheels that back there. All right, so what happens when you stop? When you stop, you have a hard stop, you go BAM! And that will stop or help the air and force it, just as similar as you see a Bugatti when they slam on the brakes, it goes completely vertical. So those are just some cool things that I thought up, and I thought if we're going to be going that fast, we're going to need to figure out how to keep this car on the ground. So I thought that was super cool. Plus, how cool is that for the wow factor, right? All right, so let's come. All right, guys, there's just a couple more things I want to go over with you guys. As you might have seen in the video, this battery over here is a little bit displaced towards the rear. That's because this transmission shifting servo needed a little bit of that battery compartment for space. So what I did is I actually constructed an aluminum jig right there that kind of protects this servo from the battery and keeps it right where we need it to be. It pushes it a little bit further down towards this mud cover, but it does just fine, as you guys could see. We didn't have to do anything over here. Really, guys, that is pretty much it. I wanted to go over another thing on these springs. I found a solution to these springs, and I'm going to be making a video about that soon. It's just, it would have made this video too long. So I want to point out that anytime you do these these springs, you're going to need these little, they're white or black spacers. You can get them at a hardware store. They're in there. You need to cut them to certain lengths. Don't try to do a shock body or a custom shock job without these, because they really do help out. That or a pillow ball set if you happen to be doing an Arma or something else that you like. I particularly like doing these because I can make them to the lengths and to the outside diameter of my liking. So these are not the original Arma springs. These are the shocks. I love the shocks. They have the dust covers. They work perfectly. The shafts, I've never broken or bent them. These springs are just too light. These are the GPM medium duty springs. I have the gold ones on the 12S Super Shredder, which are working out great. These are the lighter weight springs that I have in here, and they are much, much better than the Arma stock springs. So very, very happy with that. Guys, if you have any questions about this build, if there's anything that I can do to try to help you guys understand this RC or maybe other RCs like it, I know we're spending a lot of time on the Redcat shredder right now, but these are the builds that I'm wanting to do and I've wanted to do for a long time. And remember, this is just my hobby. I want you guys to see my ideas and to see what we're capable of. So maybe it can trigger some ideas of your own. Maybe you guys spin off and do some crazy builds of your own. I would love to hear about it. If you guys are having great experiences with these bash bars, I want to hear about it. Comment down below. If you guys are just now finding us for the first time, congratulations. Welcome to the channel. We are happy to have you guys. We do some crazy builds. We not only do these RC builds, but we do run RCs, we do unboxings, we do regular builds, just upgraded electronics and different things. But I've wanted to do these two particular builds for so long, guys. And I am very, very happy to have you guys coming along, and you guys can see that I have a lot of passion in what I'm doing here, and I really, really am happy that you guys are coming along for the ride. If you guys are curious about these hubs, we're going to have to do a special video about that in the future because I'm getting a lot of feedback about these. These 24 millimeter hubs allow for so many different tire and wheel combinations that you wouldn't normally get on an RC like this that would run 17 millimeter hubs. Now, like I have always said, that there are some hubs out there that'll fit Arma aftermarket, but to fit these Redcat shredder hubs, it's a little bit tricky. It does take some elbow grease and some metal work. So we're going to go over that in the future at some point. So if these videos are helping you guys, like and subscribe below. We really are trying to help this growing channel get off the ground, and we really appreciate everything that you guys are doing with your much valued time, and we couldn't appreciate it more. Thank you guys for being here and being a part of the channel, and we'll see you guys in the next one.